Hello everyone, my name is Amanda. Welcome to Birch and Lily, my podcast about knitting and cross stitch. Today is April 14th, 2020. I hope you're all healthy and well and excited to see what I've been working on the past 2 weeks. Before I get started, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone for joining me. If you're new, if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming and watching my podcast and supporting my channel. And as well, obviously, where can you find me on the internet? There are 2 places that you can find me. The first is at birch.and.lily on Instagram, and the second is Birch and Lily on Ravelry. So I guess let's jump right in. I have lots of stuff to show you guys this week. I have a new design that will be releasing this weekend on Saturday. I have a whole bunch of finished objects, lots of cross stitch, lots of knitting. So let's jump on in to finished objects. The first finished object I have to show you guys, you have actually never seen on the podcast before. I started and finished this since the last episode. These are my Ambient Socks. This is a pattern by Helen Stewart. I have cast these on with 64 stitches on 2.25 millimeter needles. And I used my final Woolberry Fiber Co. Gilmore Girls Sock Set. This one is in the colorway Friday Night Dinner, and it is so pretty. I can't believe that I have finished all of them. It's so exciting, like best feeling ever. And I will give you guys a quick peek once I go through all the finished socks of the whole box of them. And my plan is to record a video going through all of the socks and showing them to you, and I think I will be posting that next Tuesday. So keep an eye out for that. But let's go into more about my Ambient Socks. I did a 1x1 twisted rib. Like I said, I cast on 64 stitches for these. This is an Eye of Partridge heel flap and gusset and a rounded toe. This rounded toe pattern is beautiful. It is included in a lot of Helen's patterns, actually. If you haven't tried any of her patterns before, I think they are worth it just for this rounded toe. And so there's actually, I'll put this on a blocker. So there's this beautiful lace pattern running across the front of the sock, and then this really simple texture on the back. It was really intuitive, really easy to memorize. I wouldn't say I memorized the pattern so much itself, but each row of the pattern was very easy to memorize. So once you knew what you were doing for that row, quick and easy going. So yeah, those are my Ambient Socks. Super pretty. The next pattern that I have to show you is a pattern from the 52 Weeks of Socks book by Linea magazine. These are the Linea Socks, a pattern by Minna Sorvala. And they're so pretty, as always. I cast on 64 stitches for these as well, but I did actually do them toe up. This is a toe up pattern, so I'm pretty proud of myself for that. And I'm pretty pleased with how the heel flap and gusset, I don't know, I guess would you call it a heel flap and gusset when it's toe up? I guess so. But I'm pretty pleased with how that turned out. Like, it looks very similar to the heel flap and gusset that I would do on a top down sock. So I'm very happy with that. And it's got this beautiful, if I can turn it, diamond pattern running down the front. I would say this is surprisingly very easy to memorize. Once you understand the concept of creating these diamonds, you can just do it without looking at the pattern. I would say it took me about maybe 2 repeats to figure out what was going on, and then I just basically did the rest of the sock without having to look at the pattern. And then this gorgeous textured cabled ribbed pattern runs down the back of the leg. Very pretty. So yeah, 64 stitches, 2.25 millimeter needle. And I have not said the colorway yet. This is another one of my Woolberry Fiber Co. Gilmore Girls Sock Sets. This colorway is Dragonfly In. So these are complete and blocked, and I think I had talked last episode about how the top of the cuff bothered me because it flared out a little bit, but you can tell blocking pretty much fixed that problem. And when they're on my leg, you're not going to notice it at all, so I'm quite happy with how they turned out. Okay, so the final pair of finished socks that I have to show you are my Candle Flame socks. This is a pattern by Mona Schmidt, also from the 52 Weeks of Socks book by Linea magazine. And here they are. So this is the Woolberry Fiber Co. Gilmore Girls Sock Set in the colorway Taylor's Old Fashioned Soda Shop. This is probably my favorite. Looking down at my box there, this is definitely my favorite out of the whole bunch. It's absolutely gorgeous. The cream has so many pretty pastel colors running through it, and then this beautiful bubblegum blue for the main color. I cast on 60 stitches for this pair of socks on 2.25 millimeter needles. I think I had talked last episode about how I thought I wouldn't have enough of the contrast color to do the toes, but I did, and I'm very happy that I made the decision to do that. The cuff is a really pretty cabled cuff, and then a typical slip stitch heel flap and gusset and a wedge toe. And yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about these. I will say it again and again, if you don't have the 52 Weeks of Socks book, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I love all of the patterns in there. They're so pretty and so fun to knit up. And the texture in this pair of socks was so easy to memorize, and it turns out so beautifully. So yeah, I highly, highly recommend that book. And I highly recommend this pattern as well. Actually, all of the patterns that I have shown you are absolutely gorgeous. I love them so much. Like, this is just beautiful, how it fades into the stockinette. And you get this kind of chevron type pattern going on. It's so pretty. So there you have it. That was the final sock for all of my Woolberry Fiber Co. Gilmore Girls sock sets. I have been working on these, I think I looked, and I think I've been working on these since October of 2018 to get all of them finished. And I can't believe that they're done, and I'm so excited. And like, looking at the box down here on my lap, all of the beautiful patterns that are represented in here, it's just insane. It's so cool to look back and even just to remember what I was doing when I was knitting every single one of these pairs of socks. Like, I remember there's one here I know I knit when we were home, Christmas 2018. Like, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I will give you a sneak peek of all of them. Wow, this is so cool. I can't believe this. So yeah, like I said, I will be recording a video and putting it up, I think next week, Tuesday. I don't know what day that is. Maybe the 21st of April, but I will be recording a video going through every single one of these pairs of socks, showing you the pattern, showing you the yarn, and I'm really excited to do that for you guys. A couple people have been asking, so I thought, why not? Especially since we're all stuck at home now, and I know I love when people have been uploading videos lately because it gives me something to watch. So I would love to put an extra video up for you guys as well. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, let's jump into works in progress next. So the first thing that I have been working on that I would like to show you guys is the new design that we'll be releasing this weekend. I believe April 18th is Saturday. It will be releasing on Saturday. I have it in this Birch Grove bag because, like usual, I have not finished both socks, and I'm working frantically to get them done. I definitely think I will be able to have them both done by today though, and get them blocking, and then I can take photos. But these are what I am calling the Solitude Socks. I am knitting them out of Sugarplum Circus yarn. If I can find both skeins. So the main color that I'm using is this beautiful bright neon-y sort of green. This is the colorway Pookybeast, and then I cannot remember for the life of me what this mini is called, but that came with the sock set as well. Maybe Mellon something, but that is what I am working with. I will put the completed sock on a blocker. So here we have, I'm covering my face. So here we have it. This is the Solitude sock pattern. You can tell I obviously have not woven in the ends because there are little holes here I have to fix and stuff like that. But this is the finished sock. It has this gorgeous, I don't even know what you call it. I guess mock cable pattern running down the back, and then cabling on the front. I will flip this around on the blocker really quick so you can see what's going on. So there is this beautiful cable pattern running down the front of the sock. So this will come in 2 sizes. I decided to omit the small size just because cables make the pattern so tight that I don't think the small size would be useful for many people. So there will be a 64 stitch and a 72 stitch version of this in the pattern. Hearing from most of my test senders, if they normally knit a 64, it was definitely a little snug. Nothing that wasn't workable. Once they blocked it, it was totally fine. Or they could have gone up to a 72 if they were concerned. But there was no fit problems from what I have heard with feedback. There's just a typical 2x2 rib at the top, slip stitch, heel flap and gusset, wedge toe, and yeah, I'm really excited to get this released to you guys this weekend. And I am almost on the foot on the second sock. I have maybe 10 more, very tangled yarn is what I have. I have maybe 10 more rows to go in this repeat and then the toe, and I will be able to get them blocked. So yeah, these I have knit on my typical 2.25 millimeter needle. I did the 64 stitch size. It fits me perfectly fine, and I'm very pleased with the pattern. Okay, let's jump into some cross stitch next. The first pattern that I will be showing you guys is Summer Squirrel by the Blue Flower. I have it in this gorgeous bag by Pretty Southern, of course. I am stitching this up on 40 count Alabaster fabric, and I'm using all of the called for threads. I can never make these look as pretty as Nicole from Nicole's Needlework, but this kind of gives you an idea of what I'm using for threads. And I'm working away on the border. My plan for this cross stitch piece is to get the whole border complete before I move on to the middle of it. And I feel like I'm doing pretty good with that so far. I'm flying. It seems I got all of this done in one night. As I drop it. Yeah, I got all of this done in one night, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And I'm pretty pleased with the fabric. I was not sure. Am I showing you the right side of this? Haha, it actually goes this way. So I'm pretty sure the pattern actually calls for 40 count vintage gray. That is a fabric by R&R though, and it's really hard to find at the moment. So I just asked the lovely workers at 123 Stitch what they would recommend, and I'm pretty pleased with this. When I held all of the called for threads up to it, it looks beautiful. They all popped on it just fine. Even if I do that, looks beautiful. So I am not worried in the slightest, and I'm excited to see where this project goes. Cross stitch always seems to fly so much faster than knitting. I guess there's less to say. It's like, I did this, I'm using the called for this and the called for that. I can't really tell you that because it would give the pattern away. I don't know. But I find I fly through it faster. If there's more you want to know about the cross stitch, please let me know. I might be missing something, I don't know. So the next project that I have to show you guys is the Mellon Headband. This is a pattern by Sari Norlund. I have it in this limited edition bag from Woolberry Fiber Co. You've seen plenty of times. I am knitting this up on a club colorway from, goodness Amanda, a homespun house. This is a club colorway from a homespun house. This is called Elderberry. It's a beautiful mix of purples. There's some blue speckles in there, all sorts of fun stuff going on. And this is what I have got done since last episode. So, get the needle out of my eyeballs. I feel like I've got quite a bit done. This pattern is definitely slow going. There is a lot going on in it. If you look closely, lots of cabling. These are big cables. And I've actually never done a cable where instead of you're swapping stitches once, there's actually 2 times that you're swapping in one cable, if that makes sense. So you put a whole bunch of stuff on a cable needle, you knit all the stitches that are on your normal needle, then you move 1 stitch from the cable back, let's try this again. So you put stitches onto your cable needle, hold them to the front or the back, then you knit the stitches from your normal needle, then you move 1 stitch from the cable needle to the normal needle, knit that, and then you knit them from the cable needle. So there's an extra little twist in there. So it definitely takes some paying attention. There's lots of wrap stitches, all sorts of stuff. I don't know if I'll be able to wear it this spring before it gets too hot because it's definitely slow going, but it's so pretty and I love it. So I am knitting this up on 2.75 millimeter needles, a US 2. I think that's what the pattern calls for. I'm knitting the size small. This does come in 2 sizes, a small and, is it small and large? Small and medium? Anyways, I'm knitting the small. And I'm quite excited to keep working on this. It should be super warm. You're knitting it in the round like a sock, basically, and then eventually you will graft the 2 ends together. So yeah, I think that will make it super warm and wonderful for walks with the dog this coming fall, winter. It'll be done very early, hopefully, but I am okay with that. And I think, yeah, that's about all I have to say about my Mellon headband. Next we have His Eyes on the Sparrow, a cross-stitch pattern by Heartstring Samplery, again in a pretty southern cross-stitch project bag. I am stitching this up on 40 count mallow linen, and I am using all of the called for threads on this project as well. My tangly thread mess for you all. So this is a very large project if you have not seen it before. This will be quite a long time project, but I'm really enjoying it. It's quite easy to work on because it's a whole bunch of small motifs. So I feel like I'm getting a lot of progress done. Every time you finish a tiny motif, it's like, oh, I got something done. This is exciting. It's not lots of filling in and lots of big motifs and stuff like that. So this is what I have got complete. I started to move this way towards the border. So I think since last time you saw this, I finished up this plant with the bird on top, and I have done these 3 motifs here. This bird is not complete yet, but he's pretty close. So yeah, if you missed last episode, I decided to move in this direction so that I could get to the border and I could do a lot of work on the border and get that complete, because I know myself and borders are boring. And if I can get a bunch done on the border before I go back to all the fun little motifs in the middle, I think that will be good for me keeping steam on this project. So I'm really enjoying it. It's really fun and I can't wait to keep working on it. Beth Twist, the designer behind Heartstring Samplery, is extremely talented. She actually did, if you missed the last episode, come out with a companion piece to go with this. So it's the same size, same sort of concept, but a whole bunch of different motifs and colors and all sorts of fun stuff in it. So when I have this one complete, I will definitely be starting that one. It is called Consider the Lilies, and I can't wait to have both of them hanging on my wall. I'm so excited. I should also say that when Beth stitched these, she stitched them on 28 count, which is insane. There is no way that I would do that. It would make it so big, and I don't know where I would hang it, and I feel like it would just take so much longer, where the 40 count just, I don't know. I love 40 count. You'll seeing the rest of the cross stitch projects that I've been working on that I've kind of converted to 40 count, and I'm okay with that. I'm cheap. I like only using one thread, and it just, I don't know, it makes smaller, cuter, in my opinion, more delicate projects. Okay, another project to show you guys from the knitting end of things. This project has been on hiatus for a little while as I was finishing all of my Gilmore Girls sock sets. And I have this in another Birch Grove bag. These are my Waiting for Henry socks. This is a pattern by Tabby Gandes, one part of the Hey Sister podcast. I am knitting this out of the Woolberry Fiber Co. Blueberry sock set. This is on their berry sock base, and it comes with 2 minis and 1 full-sized skein, which is perfect for the Waiting for Henry sock pattern. And I have completed 1 sock. I just finished the toe yesterday, and I was so excited. It looks gorgeous. So I cast on 60 stitches for this pattern. I did a 1x1 twisted rib. I think the pattern might just call for a 1x1 rib. Color work here. The pattern calls for an afterthought heel, but I substituted in a heel flap and gusset just because that fits me better. And then the pattern calls for a wedge toe, which is what I did. Last time I showed these, I was where this little progress keeper is, so I really didn't have much left to do. But I'm glad to get the first sock finished and be able to cast on the next one probably later today. Yeah, it's so pretty. I love how the color work really stands out, and then you just have this beautiful simple ribbed pattern for the rest of the sock. And yeah, it's so intuitive. This color work section flies. I had this done in a couple hours. It's so much fun. It knits up so fast, and then the ribbing is so intuitive and easy that you could do it without looking. So I'm really pleased with this sock, and I'm really excited to cast on the next one. Don't know if I said I used 2.25 millimeter needles, like always, for this sock as well. Dog fur. Yeah, so Waiting for Henry by Tabitha Gandes. Excited to cast on the next one. Okay, next cross stitch project is in a bag by Mama Joan, made by Mama Joan on Etsy. Super pretty. This is Mary Mary Needleworker, a pattern by Lindy Stitches. And my DMC finally came in. I think I had said last episode that when I ordered it, ordered the supplies for the pattern, I accidentally forgot to order all of the DMC, and I've been waiting for it. 123 Stitch obviously is very busy right now and hasn't had tons of time to send out. Well, they have lowered amounts of workers right now, so they're working very hard to get stuff out, but they're busy, of course, because we're all stuck at home and want to cross stitch. So I finally got all my DMC. I made my own thread drops. I will say I wish I had a smaller punch for this hole in the middle, but they seem to be working quite well so far, so I'm not too worried. So those are my threads, all called for, and I am stitching on the called for color of fabric, not the called for count. I'm stitching on 40 count Bramble by Picture This Plus. The pattern calls for 32 count. And this is where I am. So I really haven't got a lot done since last episode just because I was waiting for my DMC, but I did go in and start to do the little flower buds on the edges of this border here. So I'm looking forward to putting in some more work into this, of course. I want to work on everything, and if I had 8 hands, I would be working on many things at once. But I don't, so I'm doing what I can. and loving what I can get done. So that is what I have of Merry Needleworker. Yeah, I think I just had so much ambition to get those Gilmore Girls socks done that everything else just got tiny amounts done on them, but I'm okay with that, and I'm so excited to have them done. How many times can I say that in this episode? I should put a counter up. And the funny thing is, now that I've finished those, Woolberry Fiber Co. is doing the literary sock sets. Actually, I will show you those because they're so pretty. They're right in front of me. So these are the literary sock sets they're coming out with now. They are currently on hiatus just because of everything going on in the world, and they're unable to source enough yarn to be able to do the sock sets. So they are waiting for now, and they will bring them back into production when things are back to normal and they can get the yarn again. But this colorway here is based off of the book Little Women. This one is based off of the book Emma, and this is Anne of Green Gables, my favorite book ever. So I will be starting to knit these up soon-ish. I would like to knit some other yarn first. I don't know, yeah, just knit some other yarn, enjoy some other yarn that I have. Obviously still socks, but yeah, I just want to dive into my stash and remember what I have because I've been so occupied with these Gilmore Girls sets for so long. So these will wait for a little bit, but you will see them soonish. So the final pair of socks that I have to show you guys are the Ballad socks. This is a pattern by Sari Norlund. I'm currently testing it for her, and it should be available for purchase on Ravelry by the beginning of May. I have it in this beautiful bag by the Scrappy Thread. And I am knitting it up out of a Potluck colorway from Barnyard Knits. This beautiful purple, nice and tonal, and shows the pattern gorgeously. And here we have the Ballad socks. So I have one repeat done on the pattern. I'm loving it so far. You definitely have to pay attention to this, but I am okay with that. And I did a 1x1 rib on here, not twisted, because that is what the pattern called for. And I have to say, my 1x1 rib has kind of improved. It looks less messy than I remember it being. So I'm pretty happy with that. The pattern does call for a 2.5mm needle, but I've cast these on with a 2.25, and I cast on 60 stitches for this pattern, and it's beautiful. I'm really loving it. I'm really excited for you guys to be able to get your hands on this pattern when Sari releases it. And I know you guys will love it. It's gorgeous. This is a companion with her Poet Socks pattern that we'll be releasing soon. She has the Poet Sweater, which she took the patterning from that and turned it into the Poet Socks. And then from that, she came up with the idea for these socks. It's a little bit simpler of a lace pattern, but still has the kind of same idea going with them. So I'm excited to knit up the Poet Socks when they release as well. I'm really looking forward to it. So that is all that we have for knitting this episode, but I do have one more cross stitch thing to show all of you. I have this in literally my favorite bag ever from Pretty Southern. There are sheep on it and they are knitting. Like, that is absolutely perfect for me. It's gorgeous. It's well made like always. And I am stitching a Shepherd's Song by Plum Street Samplers, one of my favorite designers. These are the colors here, all called for again, like usual. And I am not stitching this on the called for fabric, mostly because it's really hard to come by right now. I believe it calls for 36 count hog bristle, but I had some 40 count winter brew in my stash, so that is what I am using. And here we go. So I'm just working away on the border. Again, my goal is to get the border all done before I jump into anything else, because the rest is more fun than the border. But I'm really happy with it. I'm happy I'm using 40 count. Again, it makes everything look so delicate and beautiful. And this pattern is just gorgeous. So I'm really excited to have it done and hung up on my wall. let's be honest, in 10 years, I have so much going on. I think when quarantine is done, it will be a lot easier to pick projects and stick to them. I find I just can't keep my attention right now. Like, I just want to jump from one thing to the next. And I think that's why I'm rushing to get that design sock done as well, because I just can't put my mind to working on it. But I will try my hardest to get it done. It needs to be done, so of course I will get it done, but I need to be better at putting my mind to one project and sticking to it. So that is my hope for these next coming weeks. We will see how that goes. Yeah. But yeah, I hope you guys are all healthy and well. I hope you're excited to see my Gilmore Girls Sock Set, sock box video next week. I'm really excited to record it for you guys, so I hope you're looking forward to that. And yeah, stay home, wash your hands, stay healthy, and I will see you next week for that video. Take care.